Welcome back to the Weekend Show. Joining us now, we have three gentlemen that will be walking us through the voter education process, what to do pre, during and after the elections. We have Dr. Idahosa, who will be telling us about the litigation process, how to collate evidence if you believe that your votes were compromised during the election. We also have Bishop Johnson, a security expert, who will teach us about some security measures to take during this election process. And finally, we have Mr. Saze Oluwale Uzi, who is the Director of Publicity and Voter Education at INEC, who will be walking us through INEC's 7 steps policy for the upcoming elections. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
So I would like to talk about the security measures first of all. There has been voter apathy in regards to women who feel that the election doesn't necessarily produce a conducive environment for them to be able to exercise their universal suffrage. What are some security measures that they can take to ensure that they're protected during these elections?
Let me start by saying that it's quite unfortunate that during a process that is supposed to be very sacrosanct to a nation building, that we have to worry about security to exercise such fundamental right. But that is where we are today. I know that in the other clients, security is never an issue. You can just wake up anytime and you go there and you cast your vote. But that is not the case here in Nigeria. We have to be very realistic about where we come from. So, be that as it may be, there are certain things people can, certain actions people can take as individuals to stay safe. Now, you know that the security agencies are going to impose curfew on the day of election. And I believe that the reason why that is done is so that they can limit people's movement from their own particular polling unit and to other polling units going there to cause havoc. So people should try as much as they can to limit themselves to the particular polling unit where they're going to cast their votes. There should be no movement from one polling unit to another where you have no business. If you you go to cast your vote, conduct yourself in an orderly manner. Follow the instructions of INEC officials who will be at the polling unit. If they say queue up, stay quietly. When it gets your turn, you'll be able to exercise, your own franchise. Also follow the instructions of security officials who are going to be there. Whatever they ask you to do, it's important that you follow those instructions and conduct yourself in a very peaceful and quiet manner. I believe that if you do all those things, you wouldn't have any cause to worry and avoid being used as a political talk, because that is very important in this country. If you look at some of the politicians, their words and keys are not even in the country as we speak. So woe behold that individual who is going to allow himself to be used as a political talk, because you do that, then you put yourself in a collusion cause with security officials, and then you could get hurt. So
thank you so much, Bishop. So Mr. Uzi, can you walk us through the 7-step process INEC has released for voters who are going out to exercise their votes? What are the processes when they get to the polling unit? What happens then?
Thank you. If you get to a polling unit, if there are several people there, you join the queue. If there's nobody there, you walk straight to the first official, and he will or she will look at your PVC, because you must go with your PVC. He or she will look at the PVC and ascertain whether you are actually in the correct unit or not. If you're not in the correct unit, he or she will direct you to where you should be voting or ask you to leave. But if you're in the correct place, you go to the next step. He looks at it, sees that if it's your face on the card, if it is and it corresponds with your name, then he'll send you to the next official, who will now use the card reader to ascertain whether that card, first of all, whether it's genuine, whether it was issued by INEC, number one. Then number two, if he puts the card reader there, it will pop up with your biometric details, your face and your details, and then you will be requested to put your finger, any of your fingers, on the aperture, so that it can ascertain from your biometrics whether you're really the owner of that of that card. So that basically is the second step. And if you are, then he'll direct you next to the next official, who will go to the register. And in the register, we have the photographs, names, and particulars of all registrants. The law says he should tick that register if you show up for voting. He looks at your PVC and ticks the register, and then gives you the polling instruments, the ballot paper. If it's one election, it gives you one. If it's 3 elections, it gives you the 3 ballot papers. They are color-coded in accordance with the election. So you have, for example, the first day, on the 16th, exactly 1 week today, you have the green, the red, and the black, depending on the election that you have. And he will have to stamp it and sign to show that he or she is the authorized INEC official, has issued that ballot paper. So if you bring a ballot paper from home or anywhere else and it's not signed, it's an invalid vote. That's what the law says. So that after stamping and signing and dating it to show that it is the election for that particular date, it gives it to you, folds it. Because in most of the cases, in the presidential, for example, there's 73 political parties, so it's quite a lengthy ballot paper. So it folds it and gives it to you. Then you take it next to the cubicle. There's a cubicle where you're supposed to mark your
that's step 5.
Say the choice, yes, that's the 5. You take it to the cubicle, and there you use any of your fingers, your thumb or any of your fingers, to indicate your choice. Being very careful to show that it doesn't cross the lines of
all 3 ballot papers.
In all 3, if you wish to vote for all 3, and I suppose getting to the polling.
And I'm guessing the 3 are for presidential, Senate, and House of Representatives.
Correct, for the first election, for the 16th.
Okay.
And on the following 2 Saturdays later, you have the one for the governorship and state assembly. For those in Abuja, you have the FCT elections. There's no governorship election, no state house assembly election in Abuja. So you have to do for the chairman and councillor of your ward. Okay. So after indicating that, you fold it again so that nobody sees it, because by law, everybody is supposed to maintain the secrecy of the ballot. You are not supposed to show people. People are not supposed to spy on how you voted. It's a sacred duty. So you fold it up and then you come out of the cubicle, because you voted in secret now, but the law says you must cast your vote in the open. You must put the ballot into the appropriate box. For the first election, there will be 3 boxes color-coded again. So your ballot paper with the green edge, you put in the green box. The one with the red edge, you put in the red box. The one with the black, you put in. Careful to follow those simple instructions. So in full public gear of everybody in the unit, you cast your vote. Then you have a choice whether to stay and remain and watch the process unfold up till the declaration point, or you might choose to go home or go about any other duty you have for that particular day. So basically, these are the step-by-step
different steps. I think these are well spelled out already. But yes. I have a question about the identification of the polling units. Yes. Why do you have to go to a certain polling unit before you find out which exact one to vote? Is there a mechanism? Is there like a link online where you can find out what polling unit you're registered to vote at?
Yes, for those who go online, if you go to our website, it'll give you a directional portal. There's a particular portal you go to and you find units. And well, most people, I think, do know their units. Some who registered in 2011 and some subsequently, it's where you registered, or where you have transferred to. For those who are coming out, when you have done a transfer, they will ask you for your address and put you to the nearest polling unit. And I think the day before, the names and particulars of every person in a particular polling unit will be displayed.
Okay, the day before the election.
Yes, the card reader is specific to the unit, so it will not read your card if you're in the wrong place. It will not read your biometrics if you're in the wrong place, because the card reader only has particulars of those registered in that particular
in that specific unit. Polling, and there are about 120,000 polling units across
there are about
the country.
100 and just a shade under 100. I think 119,973,000 polling units.
Wow! So it's integral that you must identify your specific polling unit in this election. Correct. Let me bring you here, Dr. Idahosa. In terms of litigation, we hear a lot of politicians say, "Defend your votes." Don't. It was a huge issue where politicians were deciding whether or not to accredit and vote, or accredit, wait, then vote collectively. INEC made the decision that you have to accredit and vote simultaneously. In terms of litigation, what can our viewers do if they feel that their voting rights have been compromised? What can they do to collate enough evidence to then present it in court afterwards to prove this thesis of theirs?
Well, thank you. I think the decision not to allow accreditation before voting, in my opinion, was a setback. But all the same, as it is today, the first step is really with the agents. So it means the parties must have credible agents, not agents that can be bought for a penny. And these agents must be very, very vigilant at the inputs of the result sheets. Is key, because don't forget, you don't have access to the number of accredited voters now. So what you have is the result sheet. And so you must be very careful to make sure that the counting is reflected in the result sheet. And then the second point is for voters who have voted to leave the arena but to stay safe. They know their country well. They must stay safe. And the whole idea is protect your agent, because don't forget that your agent, as he leaves the arena, will be coming with the most relevant document reflecting the voting of that unit. He can be beaten up. He can be malhandled by those who perceive that that result may not have been in their favor. So you have to protect your agent, take him to his safe custody, and make sure that photographs of that result sheet are taken, and those who are taking it, take it to another destination. Just in the event that there is an ambush against the agent.
So are you encouraging our viewers to bring out their smartphones? And by the way, you have to clarify this, Mr. Uzi. Can we take in our smartphones to the polling units? And at that polling unit, can we then take pictures of the result sheets that are giving to our agents? So first of all, let me let you clarify that before I give Dr. Idahosa.
Okay, very quickly, let me go a little bit, take Dr. Idahosa up on something. It says the agent will not know how many people are accredited. I think that's a fallacy. It's not quite correct, because there are agents, accredited agents in every polling unit, and once anybody passes the accreditation test, you tick. That's what most agents do, and that's what they're supposed to do. You tick it to know. So at the end of the day, you actually have your records of how many people were accredited for that. And even at the end of voting on that particular unit, the polling official will announce the number of accredited voters. So there's a double layered protection there. But yes, certainly you're allowed to take your camera, your telephone, whatever it is you want to take to the polling units. Okay. What is prohibited is for you to take it into the cubicle. In your step-by-step guide now, you saw there's a separate cubicle, a little bit removed from where everybody is. That's because you must protect the secrecy of the ballot. And the Electoral Act says, look, you cannot take photographs, you cannot do anything that will compromise on the secrecy of the ballot. And it makes sense that people should not go there, because sometimes people take that, you know, this menace of vote buying, especially in the polling unit, which is the new phenomenon. At the polling unit, you take it and go and show and collect your money for that. So we say we prohibited that. That is not allowed under the guidelines.
But the result sheets will be posted at the polling unit.
Now, each accredited polling agent and the security officer is given a result sheet signed by the presiding officer and the agents who wish to sign. Apart from that, there's what we call the people's result sheet. In every public place, the result sheet for that particular unit, not the result sheet, it's a poster, because the result sheet is fairly small, but a poster, which is quite large, and it must be written legibly, the names of every party, and that's cause it will be pasted in a public place where everybody is free to take photographs of it. So Dr. Idahosa's fears, I think we can banish those fears, because one, the accredited agent has that result sheet. If they like it, we don't want that to happen. If it's attacked, there's still that other one there, which I guess, should have taken a photograph and sent to their situation room. Most serious, and I think just about the serious candidates and political party has a situation room, and the results from all the polling units will be forwarded to them electronically while they take that manual hard copy to their situation room or to their parties.
Dr. Idahosa, I see you smiling, and I want to know, because you're asking citizens, and I foresee a problem here. You're asking citizens that for post-election litigation, they should take pictures of the result sheets. I can imagine if 4,000 people are registered to this polling unit, I'm just making up a number from the top of my head, and each one is struggling to take pictures of this result sheets. Don't you see a problem, you know, coming up, some sort of security challenge coming up just because of this? Are there other means, you know, to be able to collate credible evidence that you can use in court in case you feel your votes are compromised?
Well, you know, most of the materials that my brother Waliuzi has talked about belong to INEC. Those pictures you talked about, the voters register and so on. You know, don't forget they are encouraging voters to vote, to stay at the same distance. So to whom do you announce the accreditation result? There will never be a chance for everybody to be together. And then you say accredited 40. So we all know. But the point is, I emphasize agents' credibility, and it's up to the political parties to be sure they do not take lily-livered agents. Don't forget who is taking the votes, the agents. So if you are compromised, you start compromising your party right from there. So the political parties should be very careful. But the most significant point, you know, which he made is that every serious political party has a situation room. And when I talked about taking the pictures and sending, I'm talking about taking the pictures of the result sheet. And they know that there is a system for doing that. It's not everyone who is entitled to do that. The parties designate their safeguards for such methodology. So there's not a problem with the security problem of crowding and so on with that type of mechanism.
Okay. Well, very lastly, sorry, my guest host, Zachary,
so for clarity's sake, just the party agents are to take the pictures, not everybody.
But you can't take the pictures at the point of casting your vote, which is a good security measure.
No, I was talking about the picture of the result.
Oh yes, that's important. They have it, they take it, they know how to send it around. If I have the result sheet, I take the picture, somebody else take the telephone, they know the destination to which it goes.
Okay.
Sorry, I think the point has to be clear. There's a result sheet which is given to the party agent. That's a sheet, a small piece of paper where all the results are entered. But there's also a poster which is separate and it's endorsed and put in a public place. That one, anybody at all, anybody can take a photograph of that. And it's there for days, or it's there till somebody removes it.
Okay.
Very lastly, Bishop, I'm so sorry we didn't have enough time to delve into this segment. 2 hours just doesn't seem like enough time these days. Very lastly, Bishop, you've heard the solutions preferred by INEC and a seasoned lawyer. What are the last security measures that we can take based on these solutions that have been preferred?
We as individuals or as our government?
As voters, as individuals.
As individuals. I think the most important safety measure an individual can take is to follow the instructions of officials. Okay, there are people who are conducting these elections, and definitely they are going to give instructions on how the elections are supposed to follow. You have to listen to them. You have to listen to security agents. You must avoid a situation where you are on a collusion course with security agents. But that is to assume that the officials are going to be fair. Okay.
Well, we have to leave it there. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much, Bishop. Thank you so much, Dr. Idahosa and Mr. Uzi, for coming on the program. Taking us out right now, we have a musical performance for you. Lady, gentlemen, take it away.
Ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I was just a child so lost and broken. Yeah, yeah. I tried to find out who I was. The devil came with his claws to cage my weakened mind. Oh, but suddenly he came. He came and showed me who I was and delivered me from the enemy's clutches. But most of all, he gave me his identity. He gave me his identity.
Wondering when it's gonna end.
When
is the struggle ever gonna stop?
Stop.
Thinking, when is the money ever come? I got so many things to buy, but maybe if you stay put and have some little faith, I need to be fine.
Be fine.
Faith, a little faith, a little faith. Oh, little faith,
little faith, little faith, little faith, little faith, little faith.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, you've been wondering
when
it's gonna end. When is the struggle ever gonna stop? You've been thinking, when is the money ever come? I got so many things to buy.